Bodyfat is in.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy D-Wall in the building. World's strongest CFO, lifting maximum, saving taxes. Today we have a chill bench session, deload week. I'm fried from last week's sessions, but it's gonna be quick, easy, in and out. 3x4 at 7 on bench, some double incline presses, tricep push downs, and then we're out. And I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get a new windshield because my windshield got cracked. Yeah, let's just roll right into it. Yeah, like the thing about like deload weeks is like you don't have to push super hard, you know what I mean? So it's just like, and Joey was telling me, it's just like, yo, stay calm, like let it come to you, like don't do too much, like understand the reason for each workout, the reason for each set. So, yeah, that concludes today's workout, guys. Pretty simple, pretty chill. I mean, not everything's going to be glamorous. Not everything's going to be exciting. A bunch of heavy weight being lifted. And I think, like, it's these days that are just as important as, like, the PR squat days or deadlift days and all that. And so, you know, not to, like, reiterate it for the 1,000th time, but I just remember having a conversation with Joey just saying, like, hey, we got to just stay dialed in. Don't get too excited. Like, continue to ride this wave and this flow. And take what's given to us, right? If we take too much, then eventually we go and draw to the well too much. We get there and the well's going to be dry, right? So we have to, you know, pull what we need and then allow it to be refilled. So then when we need to call on it, you know, the water can overflow and our cup overfloweth, right? Is that how you say it? What's that biblical way to say it? Let the cup runneth over, right? There we go. But yeah, I mean, that's really that. Something interesting today. So there's been some things that's on my mind. I alluded to it like throughout today's video that there's just a bunch of just little things that I'm working on, whether it be businesses I'm trying to start, collaborations I'm trying to make happen, just continuing to try to build the gym, get this, you know, space completely done and finished. And it's funny, I had a conversation with Cozy. If you guys don't know Cozy, he's the mastermind behind the camera, making everything 10 times better than it actually is in real life. Say what's up, yo, throw a deuce or something. Yeah, what's up? But also one of my buddies, Neil, who owns an IT company here in Westchester. And we were just talking about, he actually saw the trailer to the sequence that this series that we're making, and he's like, yo, like all those clips, like people like talking about you saying like you couldn't do this, you can't do that, and like you suck and blah blah blah. Like, is that real? Or you guys made it up? And I'm like, no, that's like real. Those were all real clips. Like those were stuff that you like listened to, like going into a meet or leaving a meet or whatever. He's like, yo, like that's crazy. And it's interesting because it's like in that moment, listening and hearing some of those things, it's very easy to be disheartening, right? And I think very often, like whether you're a kid at school, whether you're somebody in the gym trying to start off, whether you're trying to build your own business or start something or do something that you've never done before, people in your circle have never done before. Like when you first start or as you're trying to get going, it never goes as planned, right? It absolutely never goes as planned. And what I find is there are more people that are rooting against you than are for you. And I think like the ethos of that is most people aren't very happy with their lives, right? And I'm not saying that everybody in the podcast, like some of it, like they had some valid points and all that, but I'm like, we're taking it like broad scope of like everything. And what we found is like, as you're trying to reach a new level of yourself or something that you haven't seen or done before, the people that you used to hang out with, you used to be around with, you used to chill with, might not see the same or have the same vision as you. And that becomes hard on both ends because they are used to this version of you and you're trying to elevate and you want them to come with you. But not everybody wants to change. Change is scary. I'm scared every single day of my life because for some reason I'm a psychopath that just always decides to like change stuff around. And what we found is that because he started going viral for like IT videos and he started getting like some hate and backlash from people who had no clue who he was. And so that's how this whole conversation came to full circle. And it's so as you start to climb up the totem pole in anything that you do, it's almost a symbol of you're going in the right direction. The more negativity or the more doubt or the more naysayers you hear, right? Because if you are doing the same thing as everybody else, if they're cheering for you, that means that you're likely doing the same thing as everybody else because they're trying to reaffirm the actions and the decisions and the life that they've chosen to make. But as you start to break out of that mold, good, bad, or indifferent, right? That is where you're going to start to hear more and more of the noise of the naysayers, of things that are not going your way, of X, Y, and Z, this, and third. And it gets lonely. It gets extremely lonely. And something I don't talk about a lot. Everybody, like, because I don't really share that much. Everybody just thinks that my life is just like happy-go-lucky and everything's great and fine and dandy all the time. And he's running businesses and this stuff is cool. He doesn't care about anything. But I mean, like, I remember 5 years ago being in a small little 1-bedroom apartment. Like, yo, I ain't making no money. I gotta crunch every penny that I got. Like, I got a beat down 2012 Toyota Corolla and the AC don't work. Well, actually, the AC doesn't turn off. So it's either heat or AC at all times. So gas is going through. I couldn't afford to fix it because the engine was going to cost me like another like $5,000, $10,000, whatever. And in those moments, you're starting in the finance world, you're starting to run a business, you're starting to start something new, and everybody's telling you, get a regular job, do the normal thing. You went to college, just go to Lockheed Martin, just go to Wells Fargo, just do this, just do that. And they are 100% right. They like your dream of what you envisioned and where you're going to be at that time did not match what you thought it was going to be. And so after a day, they're going to be right. After a month, they're going to be right. After a year, they're going to be right. Shoot, for several years, people were right. Like, hey, like, Delaney, why don't you just do like this instead? Like, I know you're trying to blah, 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 but you make more money if you did this. And eventually, if you just keep on pushing, keep on persevering, keep on pushing on, eventually you're going to get to a point where you look back and you're just like, wow, I'm exactly where I would have killed to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, right? And then they're wrong, but then in the same sense, you're then pushing and striving for more. And that cycle just continues and continues and continues of, hey, you're still striving to be more. And so if this is for everybody that's like trying to change their life, that's trying to push for something more, that's trying to be greater, that's trying to do something that their family or their loved ones or people around them have never done before, like this is just to y'all just say that like Rome was not built in a day. It's built brick by brick by brick by brick, and there's going to be days where earthquake comes and the bricks start to crumble down. And you have to rebuild it again and again and again and again, and you'll never make it if you stop. Right? If you the man that believes he can and the man believes he can't, they're both correct. But there's also a study that says that people that are extremely pessimistic and don't believe in themselves are far more likely to be right about themselves than people that are overly optimistic about themselves and think they can do anything. But the key dimension to that is the people that are overly optimistic by far statistically are more successful, right? And so you might not be right about where you end up. I was never right. I never thought I was going to fly to Malta. I never thought I was going to fly to, Kuwait. I didn't even know Kuwait was. I never thought I was going to fly to Malaysia and do all this stuff. Never thought I was going to be speaking on stages. And so I was very wrong about where I ended up or where I am going and where my life is going. But I'm far more successful than what I would have been if I just been that young kid out of college that stayed at CVS, just be a store manager there all day, all night, working at 24-hour CVS. And so, yeah, I mean, like, this wasn't really like a fully prepared kind of talk. It was kind of just something that me and Cozy were talking about before, and my buddy before that we're talking. It's just been on my mind. But for everybody that's trying to push and strive to do more, if you hear doubt, if you hear naysayers, if from your mom, your dad, your sister, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your niece, nephew, uncle, the world, right? More often than not, it's because they are projecting their insecurities and their inability to believe in themselves to be greater. And they are afraid that if you do succeed and if you do make it, that they will leave you behind. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The stark reality of it is you're going to leave some people behind. But again, a ship can never leave the dock if the anchor is always stuck on the floor. At some point in time, you have to release the anchor so that you can go off into the deep sea and maybe you make it to the other end. Maybe you don't. But one thing I do know is we're all going to die one day. And if you die, as your spirit or whatever is leaving your body, I think you'd probably be better off, or you'd feel a whole lot better if you at least went to go see your full potential. So with that, that's my thoughts. I'm just rambling and all that. I'm about to go to get a Dexa scan. My nutritionist wanted to see what's up. So come with me, go get a Dexa scan. In the comments, comment what you think my body fat percentage is. I think it's around like 13 or so. But yeah, let's go see what it is. Tell me what you think my body fat percentage is. And I'm going to see y'all next week after we go get the Dexa scan. Peace out.
Hey everybody, it's Coach Pete. Here with Delaney. Thank you guys for coming, first of all. Really appreciate it. We are going to be introducing the Dexa scan today. Delaney's going to get a Dexa scan. This is the gold standard in percent body fat, lean muscle mass, measuring your visceral fat, and also your bone density. So these are biomarkers that are important to any athlete. Whether you're a bodybuilder, obviously you want to know percent body fat. If you're a powerlifter and you have to make a weight class, you need to know what your lean muscle mass and percent body fat is. This serves as a great baseline to prepare you going into the next training block.
All right, so first thing is we just got to line you up here a little bit. So you get to relax for a minute. You don't have to keep your ankles together, but I'm just going to move you a little closer and then just relax from there so they're as close as we can keep them. All right. So it just takes about 6 to 8 minutes. You just get to relax for a few minutes. The table does move, but it moves slowly. And we will get the results immediately. All right, you're underway. That's it. Body fat is in the single digits, all right? So 8.8%. Now, I don't know where the nutritionist wants it. Did she give an indication of good, bad, or she just wanted to get an idea?
She just wanted to get an idea. Because I'm sure once she looks at it, she's going to be, start to maneuver.
Yeah, because there's a lot of ways to look at that. Obviously, it's very, very good for a physique athlete. You know what I mean? It's very low, right? You have no problems with energy, right? During the day, energy's good.
For the most part,
for the most part.
You have those days.
Because sometimes what happens when you get into single digits is you actually have trouble with energy. But if that's not the case, then I'm not telling you put on, 2% of body fat. Yeah. I don't know what her goal is. Are you in the weight class right now? Is that where you want to be? Need to be?
This is typically where I cut from. So I'll typically cut from like 188 to 191. Yeah.
So I think this is here because it's a lifelong of sports for you. You know what I mean? So it could just be a number where you're naturally set at, but it's certainly not anything that you want to go down from.
Yeah.
The goal is either I'm going to hold this here, or it actually goes up a little bit depending on weight class and energy and that kind of stuff, because you've got so much wiggle room.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. All right, this is physique sports. You're getting down into single digits. I guess guys like Saquon, McCaffrey, those guys are probably at that. You know what I mean? You're at that number. You know what I mean? So it's phenomenal. Your bone density, as we would suspect from, again, sports, is good. And literally a score of 0 in bone density is good. You're at 2.4. So you're actually way above. This is average. See this middle line? And you're actually way above even the normative data way up in here. But that again reflects 2.4. That's just not from you powerlifting. That's you playing football as a little kid and lifting weights at 15 years old.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? You built great bones. So this is, I would never blow smoke up your ass, but I would say from an athletic standpoint, regardless of sport, I would say to somebody, ask him what he's doing. This is the Dexa that you want. Follow the nutrition, follow the training plan, do what he's doing because this is what you want to see.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't kind of make it better. Muscle mass is in the 88th percentile for age group. So men age 30 to 39, you're in the 88th percentile, which I don't know, actually doesn't seem right to me, to be honest with you. I think it'd be higher than that, but that's what it is, 88th percentile. I can tell you this, a score of, I'm gonna switch for a second and tell you why I wrote 85% plus. This is how I look at life. And I'm not saying you have to, I'm just giving you a picture. You know what the Venn diagram is, right?
Yeah.
So you have health, right? Because long-term health, right? Yeah. So you have your long-term health and wellness, right? And then you have sports performance. And there's this gray shaded area right in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I like to live and where I like to coach guys like you to live. Because sometimes because you've done it in a high level, when you're pushing sports performance, your health actually suffers a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? But if you're just focused on health and wellness, then you're not going to be at the top of your game sports-wise.
Yeah.
So can you find the middle ground where you as an organism are actually very, very healthy, right? And also pushing the limits of sports performance. And that's that gray shaded area in there. And what I'm getting at is there's a biomarker of 85%, and anyone that's 85% plus has a much, much lower chance of all-cause mortality down the road.
Okay.
Right? So at age 30, you might be like, well, what do I got to worry about that for? I'm not 60.
Yeah.
But now is the time to be working on your long-term health because it's like saving for retirement.
Yeah.
You're like, why do I gotta save for retirement at 30? I'm only 30. Well, because when you get to 60, it's gonna be too fucking late.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So do it now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this is like money in the bank, not only for what you're about to do in powerlifting in the next few months, but this is money in the bank for you 10, 20, 30 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing, whether you knew it or not, both. You see what I'm saying? You're actually setting yourself up for, when I do a Dexa scan on you 30 years from now, right? And you're competing in the Masters division, you know what I'm saying? And you're able to have good energy and throw the football around in the backyard with your grandkids. That's important. You know what I mean? Because of what you're doing right now. So it is not only sports performance, but, overall health and wellness too. This is less to do with sports, but more to do with that wellness category. I just want to give you this. See this number right here? 214 grams. That's in grams. You know what visceral fat is?
No.
So visceral fat is not the belly fat. Like if I did a skin caliper, right? You're grabbing that subcutaneous fat. That's not that. Visceral fat is the dangerous fat that's packed around the inner organs.
Okay.
You can't see it, but it's there, right? So there's a biomarker that we use that's in the health section now. 454 grams or less. And that cutoff is because if you're 454 plus, then your risk of diabetes, heart disease, dementia, Alzheimer's, all these diseases goes up astronomically. So you're at 214. You're way below that biomarker.
Okay.
So this whole thing tells me not only are you prepared physically for sports, but you're also very healthy.
Okay.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's
Okay.
living in that shaded area.
Yeah.
You know? Because look, you could just walk around driving sports performance, right? And you might be 85 plus, but you have like 600 grams of visceral fat.
Mhm.
You're asking for trouble down the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's nice, I think, to be like, all right, I'm at the top of my game sports wise, but oh, by the way, I'm also freaking healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not unhealthy at the same time.
Yeah.
You know? So your blood pressure's good. You know, if you had your blood labs, you ever had like when you get your blood labs done,
Like once, yeah.
cholesterol,
While
blood
ago.
sugar, triglycerides, all
Mhm.
that stuff should be normal.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So imagine if you had your blood labs right here, right, and all that stuff is in range normal, and then you have a scan like this. Again, that's kind of where we got the name blueprint. Like,
Yeah.
what's the blueprint for you to perform at the best of your game, whatever the game is?
Mhm.
Football, powerlifting, doesn't matter, right? Whatever that game is, but also be very healthy, because the healthier the organism, the better the sports performance.
Absolutely.
You know, so this is phenomenal. Share this with the nutritionist. I'll be honest, I wouldn't know where to coach you to go from here. This is what I would say. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
'Cause, like, you got the formula. Like, you know what I mean? Just don't freaking change anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
stick to the plan. Keep
I
the
would
main thing the main
stick
thing.
to the plan, keep the main thing the main thing, be consistent and be patient, right? Because we all know in training, shit doesn't happen overnight,
Yeah.
you know?
So I guess one question for you, like, how often normal people and then I guess athletes should be
Great
doing
question. Great question.
something.
So when we say normal people, Gen Pop, right? General
Yeah.
population.
Yeah.
Like if your goal is weight loss, let's say, right?
Mhm.
Let's say you had 20% body fat, right? And then you had a specific goal of getting that down to 15 and maybe 12%. You would want to rescan every 6 months,
Okay.
right? Develop your nutrition plan, so everything's connected, right?
Yeah.
So you get your Dexa scan, maybe you have your blood labs, you set long-term goals for yourself. Okay, I'm at 20%, I want to be at 15% in 6 months. What's my nutrition plan? What's my training plan? What's my supplement plan? What's my recovery plan? And it all connects back to this.
Mhm.
You then rescan in 6 months.
Okay.
For you, with this thing, a year.
Okay.
You would need to do it for another year,
Okay.
you know, because there's not much to move here other than your numbers actually in the weight room and on the
Yeah.
platform. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But there's not much, to move here. Unless there's, you change weight classes.
Mhm.
You needed to go up, I don't know, 20 pounds or something, and you actually want to drive some body fat. Like, that radically changes what we're talking about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if you're going to stick and remain pretty much around this weight and with this, you wouldn't scan again for another year. So Gen Pop, especially for people weight loss, if you're bodybuilding, you're just trying to lose weight,
Mhm.
every 6 months for this, I'd wait a whole year.
So bodybuilders, we would lump into the gym pop of things.
Yeah,
Like
I
every
would.
6
I
months.
would. Yeah,
If they're
because
competing, or you're
if
talking
they're
about
I'm
off-season?
talking about I'm talking about both in essence, because you want to know where I am going into off season,
Mhm.
right, and what my goals are. Like, where am I going with that? How much mass am I looking to put on?
Yeah.
Right, because we also know you cannot gain weight just in muscle.
Muscle.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So if I'm an off-season bodybuilder and I need to put on mass, I'm gonna have to sacrifice some fat pounds, right?
Yeah.
Well, you want to know what your body fat is going into that. So if we put on 20 pounds and measure the muscle mass, right? Because we do want to keep it to a ratio of where it's majority
Yeah. Muscle.
15 muscle, 5 fat. Like, I
Yeah.
can live with that.
Yeah.
Not the other way around,
Yeah.
right? If I'm putting on 5 pounds of muscle and 15 pounds of fat, something's wrong in the nutrition plan.
Yeah.
So you'd want to do it off season, and then I would do it right before your competition block started, so we knew where we were, and then watch it,
Watch it come
coming down. So bodybuilders would have to do it a little bit more frequently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. But that's it. It's quick. It's easy. The data's right there. For anybody to use.
It is sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
So guys, that's the Dexa scan here at Blueprint. 120. They got something super special for the MVV folks. Hit the link in the bio. See y'all soon.